Hi, I'm Janice Banther. Today we're going to be talking about sexual abuse and how this affects the childbearing woman in her pregnancy and in childbirth. Statistics tell us that 1 in 4 women are abused sexually. For about 8 years, I worked with a sexual abuse support group, and during that time, women came and went back and forth in the groups, some coming for the whole time I was there, and some off and on, and brand new ones coming in and then dropping out. But altogether, probably hundreds of women that were in that group. And in that group that I was involved in working with hundreds of women, 1 woman had reported her abuse. So we know that this is wrong because so many women never report their abuse. We didn't really see how much this affected us in childbirth until Penny Simkin and Phyllis Klaus did some studying on this and started talking on it. And long before their book was published, Penny Simkin was doing conferences and seminars on sexual abuse and how it affected the childbearing woman. She has a book that's called When Survivors Give Birth. It was written by Penny Simkin and Phyllis Klaus. This is a great book, and you should have this in your library to be able to help you. In the time that Penny has been speaking about this, if you go to her website, pennysimkin.com, she has her PowerPoint presentation that you can look at and see the points that she talks about. And you can print that out. It will help give you more information about sexual abuse in the childbearing woman. Also, you can go to birthsource.com and also childbirthconnection.com. And I'm sure there's a lot more sites out there, and I'd love to hear from you and know about them. You can put them in the comment area just below the video and let other ones know that are watching this video of other places to go to find out more information on how to help women that are being affected by this. Also, if you'd please tell your childbirth education friends about this video, because this is also going to involve things in your childbirth class. This is going to probably be 1, 2, or 3-part video, because we want to make sure we don't just surface cover this, but also help things that we can do to really help the woman who has been sexually abused. Before, there was a lot of talk about sexual abuse, and it was like the first time I ever heard Penny Simkin talk about this, and this was many, many, many years ago. And she just kind of put it in our heads that when we're talking and teaching in our childbirth classes, or we're in a pre-interview as a doula, look for body language, looking for different things that they say. And I mentioned in some of my childbirth classes, I started saying, you know, just very carefully how I brought this in, and never the first class. If you've ever been sexually abused, sometimes this can affect you in your birth. I said it very, very carefully, a lot more careful than how I just said it. And I was at a birth, very young girl, and while she was in labor, I stepped out to go to the bathroom. As I was coming back, I met her boyfriend in the hallway, and he said, you know, I just want to let you know that she has been sexually abused. And I said, well, thank you for telling me that. I know it took a lot of courage to tell me, and talked to him for a little bit, and then went on back in the room. Her labor wasn't that long, but we could tell the baby needed to be turned around. Baby was sunny side up. So we were working on that, and it was a nurse, a fantastic nurse I loved working with, and we worked together many, many times before. And she was trying to encourage the mom to get on all fours on the bed to help the baby get turned around. And she said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And she was in very active labor. And then the nurse says, well, why don't we see if we need to go to the bathroom? And she kind of winked at me, and we went to the bathroom. And she turned the shower on, and she said, well, how about if we get on all fours in the shower? And the girl screamed, no. And I looked at her, and it reminded me right then about something I heard in Penny's seminars. And I looked at the nurse, and because I knew her well, I could do this. I said, could I spend some time alone with her? And the nurse left the bathroom, and the poor mother, she didn't have any clothes on. She was totally naked, been naked in the bed just with her sheet over her because she just didn't want her gown or t-shirts touching her. And I took a sheet and I wrapped it around her. She was sitting on the toilet, and her hair was way in her face, and I pulled her hair back, and I squatted down in front of her, and I said, has anybody made you get in that position and hurt you? And with tears streaming down her face, she shook her head yes. And I said, that man is not going to take away the best day of your life when you give birth to your child. He is not going to take away this day, and we're not going to let him. We're going to get through this together, and I will help you get your baby turned around. Well, in doing so, it meant me getting in the shower with her, her leaning way, way over on me. I got soaked before she didn't have any clothes on, so it was okay if she got soaked. We got her dried off when the baby finally did. Her back labor stopped, and the baby was turned around, and we just rocked back and forth, and her really, really leaning on me. And the hospital was nice enough to give me a change of clothes. That was a mental note I put in my birth bag. Always bring a change of clothes. Baby was born, and no problems with back labor, no problems with the baby being turned the wrong way, and no problems with having a cesarean section. She had a vaginal birth. From that point on, I realized how important it was just to really be aware of the body language of a mom. A lot of times there's words that just trigger the thought. We know that a lot of times a mom loosening her jaw, dropping her jaw, can have an effect on her cervix. We've learned this in our childbirth, in our doula training, our childbirth training, at the seminars we go to, and our conferences that we go to. But if you mention that to a woman who has been abused, a lot of times you'll see her in a childbirth class. She'll start to get very like this, or else look scared, or else if you suggest this in a birth, why don't you just relax your jaw? No! And you know right then you don't want to suggest that again. That was probably something that might have bothered her at one time or another. No, that was probably something that happened to her in her past in a sexual abuse situation. How she reacts to certain trigger words that you say in class, certain things that you might be talking about, certain things you might be suggesting in your childbirth class, certain things you might be suggesting in a prenatal interview for positions. And one of the things I'll say right now that you definitely would not want to do, and that is in your very first childbirth class, or your very first prenatal interview, or second one, let's say, because the first one is probably when they hired you, is to say, let's practice some positions, and the first one you practice is getting on all fours. If the girl had any, in a childbirth class, with a room full of 8 or 10 people that she does not know, 10 couples, and getting in that position, she feels very vulnerable, unbelievably more vulnerable if she's been sexually abused in that position. And she may feel the same way, even though she might be in her own home, when you're there for a prenatal interview and you're talking about the same thing, about getting that position. So you want to make sure she knows that she can trust you, that you're a safe person for her to be around. Her abuse may still be continuing on. It may be abuse that she's totally forgotten about and doesn't remember, but has trigger thoughts in her mind. And then again, it may be abuse that she remembers and has never forgotten since she was a little girl, or it started in her teen years or her pre-teen years. Or it may have been a rape that happened when she was an adult. We need to be aware of these women because they're hurting, and they're hurting desperately. As a childbirth educator and as a labor doula, to be able to help them during these times when we want this to be the best time of their life with a great birth memory, and not to let this affect them. We're going to be talking about this, like I said, much more. This is just the first part. And I really would like for you to have other your friends watch this and to let this be something that you really are thinking about when you're teaching or when you're with your mom in a prenatal interview. If you can, get this book, When Survivors Give Birth. Also, like I said, go to the different websites that I mentioned. Again, if you have websites that are good that I've not mentioned, please list them below. Help each other out as we, as childbirth educators and doulas, work to help our moms have the best birth that they want to have. I hope this has been a good start for you, and to be able to learning more about this. I'm sure it was covered in your training. Again, I'm sure you've probably heard at the conferences you've gone to, but you can never learn enough because we want to help our moms have the best birth possible. Next time we see each other, we'll be talking more about this. So find out your own research, start looking online for more things in the periodicals from whoever you're certified with, and let me know, and let the other people know too, in the comments below, about other ways we can help a woman who has survived sexual abuse. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.